This is kind of a rare privilege to be inside the hallway, a hall I should say I've seen many times walking up from Greystones Main Street up to Hillside. 1925 is the year on the building outside?
That's the building we are in at the moment.
Right.
It was purpose-built, but our lodge is much older. So we go back to
1725, I think, is the year I saw online.
Yes, that's the Grand Lodge Foundation. And,
in Ireland,
The first lodge in Greystones was 1730 something.
Right.
This lodge, 49 was started in 1911, I think it was.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. There you go.
And it met down in St. Killian, near St. Killian's Hall.
Right.
There was an Orange Lodge down there.
That's right.
And I think they used it for a while. And when it was burnt down,
They had to build.
The local person gave this site.
Ah, brilliant. Right.
They built the lodge in there.
Now, I suppose it's 200 years. You're celebrating on August 19th, which is a Saturday night. It's from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. People are invited to come down and have a look around. I guess for a lot of people it would be a mystery, really. They would be aware of the hall. They would have seen it many times. But in regards to exactly what, Freemasons do is always, I think, for a lot of people, a question mark. Would you be able to sort of describe, I don't know whether it's something you've worked out, you've been here since 2009, so hopefully at this stage you've figured out what you're doing.
I hope so. We usually meet in the lodge once a month, conduct some business, collect monies for charities, and enjoy our time at a supper. And outside the lodge we meet on occasion to celebrate our friendships and our relationships, and depending on the individual member we have sometimes a small talk or some information about our symbols that we use in our rituals, and as you see in the building itself.
So it did sort of form out, I think it was 14th century sort of stone masonry was the sort of origins of it, and then it gradually became, more of an idea that it was people gathering to, to sort of be a unit together, a bit like a chamber of commerce, or, even Greystones 2020. And so in regard to this meeting once a month, I don't know whether there's a sort of always a game plan, whether it's you have to hit certain targets every month, that you're looking to do certain types of work, whether you have, or it's more open than that, or?
The predominant work of a Freemason is the work on their own character, on their own being, and we call it the rough ashlar.
Okay.
And the target is to get a well-deformed ashlar that fits into the eternal building of the temple, which is a symbol for life and well-being in the society. So, except outside of that, we only do charity work. We have barbecues where we collect monies for charities.
Right.
We have our closed meetings where we collect monies, not only for the Masonic charities, but also for public charities like the Teddy Bear Fund, on which you will hear something on the night.
Okay.
We do sometimes support local people in need, and that's the origin of Freemasonry. It was the support of the relatives of the impaired in times where we didn't have a social welfare system, where we didn't have a retirement plan. So that caused, in the 17th century, a little problem, because the building sites were not that important anymore. More and more people knew about how to build proper buildings. So the decline in the freestone mason was imminent, and to cope with the social implements, they opened up to speculative masons, which are masons who did not operate on the stone, but did some theoretical work and used the tools of the stonemasons to impart the theory of what it should be in a perfect world to be.
Do you find now over the years, would you be aware of, it's a huge history. Like any organization, it's got a lot of followers, but then it's also got people who would mistrust it. I don't know whether for some it's Fianna Fáil with candles, with others it might be the Church of Scientology. There might be all sorts of readings of what this might be because people aren't necessarily fully aware and they feel it's a private gathering. Have you sort of from the start, were you aware of that? Did you find that sort of funny? Did you find it worrying? I don't know how you would have addressed that yourself.
Well, most of my fellow brethren would have Masonic links and know Masonic life from very early in their lives. For myself, it was a complete new experience. I had stories from my grandfather about Freemasons. I read a lot of bullshit on the early internet and in some conspiracy books. And at one day I decided I want to know what's the real thing. So I made contact with Freemasons and learned that nothing of the shit I read was actually true. And during a period of time, I learned more and more important things about the fraternity and found that they are a well-worthy group.
Right.
And as I moved to Ireland, leaving my family behind, the brethren were the home that took me in and gave me 5,000 brothers instantly.
Right. So what is the membership? Is it 5,000 around the world? Is that or is there?
That's the Irish constitution.
Ah, okay.
The island of Ireland.
Right. So how big would it be then on a world stage? Do you know what sort of numbers they're dealing with, or I wouldn't know?
We don't know exactly.
Right.
We can only estimate from published figures, as there is no global governing body.
Right.
We have local jurisdictions, and some countries who don't have ground lodges or own lodges sometimes apply to open a lodge, either in Ireland, Scotland, or England.
Right.
And I think the last figure I heard about was about 5 million.
Okay. Right. That's a healthy number. Yeah. I know I read that there was two. I don't know whether they're still seen as two strands, but there's continental and then there's regular. I know the continental is sort of seen as a liberal sort of version of Freemasonry, whereas the regular is quite, they believe in the supreme being. They don't allow talk of politics or religion within the hall. They also, I think, don't like women being in the hall too. I mean, is that something? I don't know whether you guys are continental or regular, or you've got another variation.
The first ever lady Freemason was an Irish lady. And she predates the formation of the Grand Lodge of Ireland.
Right.
It was the Honourable Lady Ellsworth. And except for her, there is no mainstream Freemasonry that allows women folk into the hall.
Okay.
In the UK, they have.
Right. They do allow. Okay. But they don't allow it here. You're saying no.
There are different branches of Freemasonry. Freemasonry is not copyright protected, which opens some issues with
how it's interpreted or how it's used.
Continental lodges.
Right,
so
right.
Continental Freemasonry would be co-masonry, where women and men work together.
Okay.
There are regular Freemasons, only consistent of women, that are acknowledged by Grand Lodges, mainly from England. But in the regular Freemasonry, as we call it, or the traditional Freemasonry, there is no.
And would that ever cause any turbulence? Have you ever had to deal with that as a sort of an issue? Because for a lot of people that would seem, something that has gone now from modern society, that they would maybe be a bit surprised that it still exists. I don't know if it's ever.
It never occurred.
Right.
The Grand Lodge in Molesworth Street even employs women because we are equal rights employment company or club. I know of women who would like to join, and they have passes open to them, but not in the regular Masonry.
Okay. We should sort of ask you whether there is. I don't know if there is a ritualistic side where it gets a little bit eyes wide shut. I don't know if there is, things that are done. I would say that when it comes to any sacrifices, it'll be hard to find a virgin around here. But I don't know if there's any kind of actual.
Are you volunteering as a virgin?
Hey, I don't know if there's any such thing as there are initiations, or there are kind of is there sort of pomp and kind of pageantry with this?
A certain pomp is predominant in many Masonic jurisdictions. Ireland is on the light side of that.
Right.
We only expect a dark suit. We have our initiations, which are traditional procedures that were handed down from the stonemasons.
Spanking, or what are we
There is
talking
no
about?
spanking in
Okay,
that.
right, okay.
Um,
Yeah, just checking, you never know, yeah.
Sometimes I
Some
wish
people
it
sign up
were-
just for the spanking, you know, you never know.
Sometimes I wish there were no. It's an ancient ritual, as you have with the Holy Communion, for instance.
Okay,
Churches do their rituals. Even you do your ritual.
sure.
Every morning you stand up, you do certain things in a certain.
Kick the dog, have a coffee, yeah, all the usual
And,
things,
and
yeah.
that is what we refer to as our ritual. So
Right.
we open in a certain way. We conduct our meetings in a certain way. We close our meetings, and in between we have initiations or other degree work that link us to the ancient stonemasons.
And are there certain criteria now for you know, Joe Sixpack thinks I'd like to become a Freemason? Are there certain criteria he must reach? I don't know if there's certain kind of areas of society that he should have a skill, or whether he should be involved in certain things, or...
The most important thing, and the only question that really is relevant, do you believe in a higher being?
Okay, Elvis,
If Elvis is your god, that's fine.
that's a higher being, yeah,
We require a belief in a higher being.
right,
I call it God, a brother may call it Allah or Adonai or Jehovah. We have brethren from all religious ways in Ireland, and Hindus as well as Muslims as well as Jews. So the only combining thing in this is the belief in a higher being, because this would give you a moral compass to which you can align.
right, right. So I suppose to wrap up then, if someone's watching this and they are curious, especially if they live nearby, what would be the best way to go through your website, to phone or to call to the hall here? I don't know, what's the best way to get in touch to find out a bit more?
Well, for locals, I would recommend contacting us via the website or by a simple call
Right.
to the phones. Sending us a letter or throwing in
Yeah,
contact details through the door.
right.
Or you
Yeah.
contact Grant Lodge.
Of course, the
especially
centre.
if you work in city centre.
in Dublin. They're on
It's
Molesworth
hard
Street,
to
is it,
get
or- yeah.
to the meetings here in
Sure.
Greystones, you could go to Grant Lodge. Or if you prefer going a little further away, Grant Lodge would also be the
Yeah.
port of call.
I suppose the last thing, this is a beautiful little spot. You're right in the middle of Greystones. You're not too near any houses. Do you party in here much? What's the latest you've stayed up here? Because I would think there would be a sense of like, we're together here, we're in our hall, we know each other well. I don't know if you guys sort of stay late, or whether it's a bit more formal than that.
For me, it is always a party when I attend the meetings. I meet family, I meet friends. We have fantastic food after the meetings, and sometimes we conduct the follow-up in a local pub. So it's always enjoyable. But hard parties, we're not the Hillside Club.
Nice. Well, I will say, I'll put in the links, but the big day is August 19th, which is a Saturday, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. For those who've lived here, like myself, for a long time and never actually sort of known the inside of the building, it'll be a lovely opportunity to get to know not only the building, but obviously the people who maintain it.
Yes.
Nicely done.